Hi friends, it is time to harvest all of my cowpeas and all of the sweet potatoes that I have planted on this row. This row is probably 25 to 30 foot long, and then this one over here at the end is where I grew my three sisters garden, where I grew corn, squash, and beans. And I have been harvesting all of my long beans out of here. I think these are called Asian long beans. They're not the yar long beans, but they're just long green beans. These are called cowpeas, southern cowpeas, and they are red in the inside. You can eat them green like a green bean, or you can save them and you can eat them dry as a dry bean. So instead of having to battle in here all of the time, I just let them dry on the vine and then I harvest them at the end of the season. So right now it's perfect time to harvest all of them. And then I shell them and I put them in mason jars and I use them as dry beans during the winter. Last night I started harvesting all of the dry pods, and this is one wheelbarrow worth, and I'm not even finished yet. So I like to harvest all of the dry pods first, and then I come back and I have that basket over there, and I'm going to be collecting the ones that are mature and then the ones that are green together, and those can be cooked fresh and they taste like a nice bean soup that is fresh, and it takes a lot less time to cook. In El Salvador, we like to take these pods, the ones that are past the green bean stage, these are ripe beans in here, and we like to cook them with a pork bones or beef bones, and we make a delicious stew with these. So you still have to shell them out of here, and then you cook them as a black bean or just a regular bean, and we make a delicious stew with these. Now the ones in the pods, these are super dry. This is a super dry cowpea. These peas like this will keep in a jar for years. So I have some that are 2 years old, and I've already been harvesting a lot of these dry peas throughout the season because otherwise the mice and the squirrels eat them. So I've been saving them inside my house in mason jars. I already have saved 2 pounds from these for the year, and I think I'll get another 3 to 4 pounds after I shell out all of the ones in my cart here. We are expecting a frost next week, or it's gonna dip into 32-degree weather, so that's pretty darn close to frost time, and you want to harvest these before the frost. You definitely want to harvest the ones that are mature because these get very slimy and they can get moldy if they get the frost. So I want to harvest all of the green ones, shell them, and then put them in my fridge and cook them and use them up. You also want to keep these separate from each other. The ones in the pods here, the ones that are super dry, those are great for storing. You can store them like this for months on end, and you can shell them during the winter months when there is not a whole lot going on in the garden. But these right here, you have to process really quick because these will get moldy. So as soon as you harvest them, you have to shell them, and I'm gonna be putting them into that basket over there. So you can see I have all sorts of beans here. These here are green. And if they're too green and not matured enough, you can cut them into chunks and still throw them into your soup. So I'm harvesting all of the beans today. In order to maximize my growing space, I grew some sweet potatoes as the understory of this green bean trellis. And in between the sweet potatoes, I also grew some tomatoes and some peppers and some marigolds. So I love interplanting a lot of different plants into one single bed. That way, if one of the crops is not very successful, the other crop. In fact, the sweet potatoes did not do very well this year, and I'm going to attribute that to too much shade in this growing space. Next year, I'll be removing the trellis that is in between these two rows because it's now creating too much shade, and I'll be moving the trellis to a different location of my garden. This patch right here is where I grew my three sisters garden. You can see that I'm chopping down all of the corn stalks and the bean. By using the hedge trimmer, I can get very nice particles to throw into my compost and return the nutrients to the soil. Using the hedge trimmer is so much faster than doing this by hand, but it also is a little cumbersome because you got to carry the electric cord around and sometimes it falls just like this. But it is much better doing it with the hedge trimmer rather than by hand. It only took about 5 minutes to take it all down, and now you can see the pile underneath, and that is going straight into the compost pile. Just finished cleaning all of this area here. You can see I had the sweet potatoes and some other stuff growing here. I cleared that entire area. I also cleaned the middle trellis, and you can see how this is all nice and clear now. I am not sure if I want to plant the rest of this out, but I'll figure something out. I want to plant some wheat this year, but I also have some new fruit trees coming in later in the winter, so I got to figure out where I'm going to plant those. You can see my fruit trees here are doing quite well. I have the gala apples, the Asian pears, and the peach. So I'm thinking this row right here is going to be my new orchard row. The problem with making my orchard row on that end is that there is bamboo grass that grows from that neighbor's yard. I don't want to be fighting the bamboo roots growing into my trees. I think that would be counterproductive. So I'm kind of torn, because if I put it in the middle here, it is too close to my row over here. They're only like 4 foot apart. This little back lot is only 18 inches wide, so it's a little bit hard to plant things in here. And it's oriented north to south, so you have to be very careful on how do you orient the things that I'm planting. I'm going to be planting 2 hazelnut trees, 1 more banana plant, and 1 chinkapin, or it is a southern chestnut. I have a partner over there. It needs 2 for pollination. I originally bought 2 of the chinkapin chestnuts, but one of them died, so I'm buying a replacement one this year. So that one needs to go kind of close to it anyway, so we'll have to figure out the arrangement. This is what I came up with the harvest today. These are African drum gourds, and I'm going to be using them to make bowls out of. I found a squash growing in my 3 sisters garden. I still need to harvest these African gourds. I have a cart full of the cowpeas, and I've been cleaning up a little bit. As you can see, I've been taking stuff down. I've made quite a mess here, but I already cleaned it up. I also have this basket full of green beans. I have my final and last watermelon of the season, and then I collected about this many sweet potatoes, maybe another 7 pounds or so. It's been a lot of work here in the back orchard today. I spent about 3 hours cleaning everything up, and I am close to being done. I will be removing this middle trellis. I think this creates too much shade in here during the summer months, so I will be putting this trellis in the other garden over there next to the fence, and I'll just be growing smaller crops here, like small pepper plants and other crops in the middle, because the canopy of the food forest is coming in. The peach tree that I planted, that was about 3 feet when I planted it, now it is about 12 feet tall, and in the spring when it is dormant, I will be pruning it so that it is reachable. I want this tree to be reachable by my hands at any time, so I need to prune it down a little bit this upcoming spring. Fine. This is one final look of the garden. I clear all of this up, and then I clear this trellis. This middle one is the one I'll be removing, and then I need to clean up this area a little bit and put in some winter crops, add more wood chips, and put it to bed for the winter. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Have a great day.